Hey y'all, I'm back with my August 2025 reading wrap up, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Books with Kimberly. Don't forget to like, comment, share my channel, and subscribe. Y'all, I am happy to be back and go over the books that I read in the month of August. I read a total of 5 books. Even though I am over my reading slump, August was just a very busy month, the same as September, and I wasn't able to get as much reading done as I wanted to, but I'm just happy that I got any reading done. So let's get right into the books that I read in August. I finally finished Plus Size Player by Danielle Allen. I will say that this book was not my favorite one. I absolutely loved Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen, which is the first book in her Curvy series. There will be 3 books. The main character of this book is Nina Ford, and she is a plus size model. She is a social media influencer, so her job is fully doing content. I really love how Danielle Allen went into detail of her day-to-day, her creating content, what she deals with as a content creator, and the opportunities that she's been able to get as a plus size influencer. So Nina Ford has a roster of 4 men. There's the fun, adventurous one, the smart one, the funny one, and the romantic one. We find out very quickly in this book that the fun one is her favorite. So Nina gets hired to be a part of this campaign for this big brand that is doing a huge rollout in the fashion world, and she's getting to be a part of the ads and all of the marketing. We get all the details of that, as well as her and the fun one are deciding that they want to be more exclusive. What I loved about this book is, of course, the plus size representation, seeing her make strides and be this fabulous model in the fashion industry, an industry where plus size women don't always get a lot of opportunities. And so this book showing her be one of the favorite models in this campaign and how much they love working with her and seeing her in the clothes, I really love that. I also love her relationship with Russ. The 2 of them have amazing dates. By him being the fun one, they are always doing something exciting. And one of my favorite things about romance books is getting to see those romantic dates. And then the book has some really good steamy scenes. So those were the good things I liked about this book. Some of the things I did not like is that this book is low plot. So we don't get this huge, interesting plot like in Curvy Girl Summer. Aaliyah was turning 30 and she's going on all of these dates to find one date to bring to her birthday dinner, and she has this bet going with her uncle. That's a plot. In this book, there's nothing. We're just going through Nina's day-to-day as a model with this new fashion company, and also we have Russ, who the 2 of them do have a conflict that comes up that I will not spoil. The conflict was interesting, but it was not giving what it needed to give. It was something that I felt like could have been resolved easier. It was a big deal, but I don't like how it was actually handled. Another thing I do feel like, because in the book we were introduced to Russ already being her favorite, we didn't get to see the beauty of the 2 of them finding each other, their first date, those first encounters. Why is he her favorite? I mean, it's obvious why he's her favorite, but I just feel like if we would have gotten to see the beginning of their relationship, it would have given this book a little bit more. And also in a previous video, I spoke about how I did not like all of the fat shaming that was included in this book. And to be honest, I kind of had this same critique when it came to Curvy Girl Summer. And that is, like, if you're writing a plus size woman who got it going on, who's that girl, dressed fabulous, I just don't feel like she's going to have this many fat shaming, like degrading moments from random men. I'm not saying it does not happen, but in a book like this, even if it does, just let her be that girl. So I just would have really loved her to not zero in so much on the fat shaming and really just show how Nina Ford is that girl. Overall, I gave this book 3.5 stars. I am not rounding up this year, so this is a 3-star read for me. And I was a little disappointed that I could not give it more, but it was just okay, and it wasn't giving me what I needed it to give. The next book I read is Here With You Forever by Briann Danae. This is the second book in her Evermore series. Here With You Forever was a little bit longer than her first book in her Evermore series. The main characters are Lyra and Cree. The two of them actually met in college, and Lyra ended up dating Cree's god brother, and they had a kid together, but unfortunately he ended up passing away. And so Cree really stepped up to help Lyra as she is raising a 1-year-old. And the two of them have sparks. They have unfinished business. And just the slow burn of their relationship was just so passionate, so sweet. I love flashback scenes. That is a micro trope that gets me every time. A good flashback scene to where like a couple has that cute meet or that moment that changed everything, and then you jump to the present where things aren't where you would have wanted them to be. So I enjoyed this book so much, y'all. There was steaminess. There was this slow burn situation happening because, of course, Lyra is like, Cree is the god brother of my ex. But to see them testing the limits and deciding what they're going to do and seeing what they have in store for their future, I thought this was a beautiful story, and I give it 5 stars. The next book was super quick, y'all. Literally 30 pages. I read Softly by Grey Huffington. It was like 30-something pages, a very quick read. It was Friends to Lovers, little short story. I give it 3 stars. It didn't give much, but that was what the author intended. But I just wanted more. I feel like more could have happened, but it was okay. And it was something quick to get me to 5 books. The last 2 books that I'm going to talk about today were books that have been on my TBR list for years. I have seen these books talked about in Facebook groups for so long. I thought the two were kind of related some kind of way, but absolutely not. The first book I'm going to talk about is 1201 by Belazaire. This book is a smutty book. 1201 by Belazaire was so messy. We get introduced to Time, the main character of the book. She is destroying her ex-fiance's wedding reception. She's mad at the ex-fiance because she found out the night before their wedding, which was earlier in the year, that he was cheating with his play cousin the whole time. She ends up getting arrested and going to jail. She gets bailed out by her ex's twin brother, Midnight. Midnight decides he's going to help her get revenge by posting pictures of the two of them hanging out to get him mad, get him jealous. And the two of them are also attending this 1201 New Year's Day party. And so what happens is they have this big party on New Year's Eve, and at 1201 the party turns into a different kind of party. You're going to have to read to find out what kind of party, but if you know what kind of book I told you this is, you can kind of use your imagination to see where things go. I will say that I love the messiness. The messiness is what got me to keep reading. But y'all, it was too much. I feel like this book would have been great as a novella, but as a 300+ page book, it dragged. It literally dragged. Like literally there were chapters and chapters of them just being at the party on New Year's Day. And I'm just like, I don't care about the games y'all playing, who y'all running into, y'all taking pictures trying to make the brother jealous. Oh, what did he text? He texted this. Get to the action. And not because that's what I was looking for, but I wanted to see, is this going to spark into a relationship? Like, are you really about to start messing around with your ex-fiance's twin brother? And then to be honest, y'all, the smut was mid. So I'm like, all this build up and like the party wasn't even giving all of that. I ended up skimming all of that. So this book just wasn't giving what it needed to give. I'm honestly only giving it 3 stars. And what's saving it is the fact that the premise is just so unique, so messy, and a girl loves the mess. The last book I'm going over was another book that has been on my TBR list forever, and that is Fast by Millie Belazaire. Now, everyone has said this book is sad, and for some reason, I just was in a mood for one of those books that is sad and just gets you crying. And this book definitely gave that. The main characters of this book are Caprice and Shine. We get introduced to Caprice as an 8-year-old whose mother passed away, and she has to go live with her grandmother and her uncle in Florida. And while she's there, just some unfortunate, very triggering events happen that changes Caprice's life, and she's so young. She ends up becoming best friends with the neighbor across the street, Sean, and so we just get the story of what happens to Caprice and how her and Sean get closer and start dating, and then some events happen and we jump to her being 27, Sean being 29, and the book picks up from there. Love this book, y'all. As I was reading it, it just crushed my heart. Reading her as an 8-year-old, being fearful, being abused, just not being treated like she should, missing her mother, and instead of finding safety and comfort and love in this home, instead she's finding harm, abuse, and just so much negativity, and it just broke my heart. And then you have Sean, who's literally 8 years old, but is so protective over her. And then at 16, he's so protective and loving, and the teenage love that they have, it was given YA perfection. There was nothing that Sean would not do for Caprice. I just thought that love was so beautiful. And in reading this book from the beginning, I absolutely thought that this would be my first 6-star read. I've been hearing people talk about how they have their 6-star reads, and I have been wanting one. I don't think I necessarily have a 6-star read, and this book was giving it to me because it has that emotional pull. Just so much depth to this story, and I felt like it would be a 6-star read. I ended up giving it 5 stars, and what kept me from giving it 6 is when the book jumps to them being 27 and 29. The two of them are reconnecting at this point of their life, and I just feel like that time jump, a lot was missed. A lot of opportunities for their love to continue growing from where it was at 16, that strong puppy love. A lot of it was doused in between those years. So when things pick back up, I just feel like it read like a normal, really good romance. It lost a lot of that emotional pull in the last third of the book, and I just wanted more. Overall, the book was so good, and I give it 5 stars. It's weird because I just feel like this book gave 6-star book. My critique is more on why it didn't become that 6-star read for me. I just expected more from the last third of the book. It was just so beautiful reading those teenage years. If we could have kept that same love and momentum, this book would have absolutely been a 6-star read, but I did enjoy it. I want to read more from this author. I want to read more books like this. I love a book that just brings tears to my eyes, pulls at my heartstrings, and gets me all in my feelings. And a love story, a huge love story on top of that. This book was definitely headed to 6-star land for me. Y'all, that is it for the books I read in the month of August. Get down in the comments and let me know what were some of your favorite summer reads. And thanks again for tuning in to a Books with Kimberly video.